Hi, if you're new to the channel, my name is Ken and welcome to Ken's Games Collection. I want to do something a bit different today. I want to talk about not my top 5 games in any particular console. I want to talk about my favorite 5 games that I used to play a lot back in the day, and I want to do it first on the PlayStation 2. I think we're at the is it the 20th anniversary of PlayStation 2? I don't know. There's some sort of anniversary going on for PlayStation 2 this year, but that's why I wanted to do this video. Talk about what games what were my go-to games, I guess you could say. What were my favorite games I would play back in the day, and I've gone through what is left of this collection. I used to have probably more PlayStation 2 games and got rid of everything and pretty much rebuilt this collection, and these games are my favorite 5 games that I used to play back in the day. Played them so many times. Let's start off with Grand Theft Auto 3. Now, believe it or not, when this game first came out, I was not used to the big open world environments yet. I had played games on the original PlayStation like Tomb Raider, which were open world, but they were still very linear to where you could go, what you could do. Whereas I found with GTA, it was a vast open world environment, and not having experienced anything like this before, I think it was one of the PlayStation 2 magazines, they had a bit of a demo disc. I can't remember, it's going back a long time, but I think I played that demo disc and I had no idea where to go, what to do, and I'm like, what the hell is this game? And it was because it was a new genre to me. I hadn't played the GTA game on the original PlayStation, which had the top-down view. I wasn't interested in that, didn't know anything about it to begin with, but you know, playing that demo, it didn't really gel with me, and I didn't consequently get the game at the release. Now, when this game was released here in Australia, it was released in Electronic Boutique, which nowadays is called EB Games, but back then it was Electronic Boutique, and there was a whole stink up going on about the violence in this game and some other things in this game, and the game would be pulled from the shelves. I think Rockstar Games took out a lot of stuff that the Australian Classification Board wanted taking out, and the game would be re-released here. But if you wanted to have the uncut version, you would have had to get it pretty early on in the release of it, and this is the UK version I got from Oz Game Shop, and it's still new and sealed. But I played this a lot once I got my head around the whole open world environment, and it probably did take me a year and a half before after the release of this game, that I would get it, because by that stage I had adapted adapted to that style of game. And when I did adapt to it and get this game, I played this so much. It would have been, and I never finished it, but I just loved the idea of just getting in the car, stealing a car, just driving around Liberty City, and with the radio cranked up, listening to an amazing soundtrack, and just doing whatever you want, whenever you want. I know I had one of my younger nephews would play this game, and he would there would times he would follow the road rules, where if there was a stop sign, he would stop. It's just all that sort of crazy stuff, but just cruising around, doing whatever mission you want, not even doing a mission, just cruising around, just wasting time in this huge sandbox of a game. And it would be a game that I play a lot of, and I love the whole GTA series, but I have never finished a GTA game ever, which is crazy, but it's true. I played all of them but never finished one. I should make it a goal to try and finish it, at least one. Now, sorry, it's been a long day. Now, the next game I want to do is a game that kind of reminded me of Arnold Schwarzenegger's, I think it was Total Recall, where you go to Mars, and this game kind of reminded me of that. And it's Red Faction, a great first-person shooter. One of the games that I would play over and over again, and it had a great multiplayer mode as well, but you had to play against each other. That was really cool, and I just loved the whole, I think it was the gene mode technology. So for the first time ever, you can destroy and alter the environment in real time. So you can have a rocket launcher, you can blow holes into the mountains and just try and find if there's any secret passages or stuff like that. But it had a great story. For the graphics on PlayStation 2 was really cool. It never got released on the original Xbox, which would look really cool on the original Xbox, I think. But this, the whole sci-fi story of it, and it just was so much fun to go back and play this against somebody locally in multiplayer mode. And we had so many fun times playing this in multiplayer mode. Great game. It is available on the PlayStation 4 network, download only. It was a limited run release as well. Limited run games did release something of this, which was cool. But story is great in this game, and yeah, it was a game that I would play so many times. Now, this next game really surprised me. Capcom. Ghouls and Ghosts, Ghosts and Goblins, whatever you want to call it. I absolutely sucked at those games in the arcade and on the Sega Mega Drive. But to my surprise, they would bring this series over to the PlayStation 2 in the form of Maximo. This is a third-person Ghouls and Ghosts, Ghosts and Goblins game, a platform game. It looks amazing on the PlayStation 3. I just love the whole style of it. The character himself, Maximo, is awesome. You have, he can lose his armor and just be down to his boxer shorts, like in those old arcade games. But this one was a lot easier. I think as you get on in the game, it does ramp up and does get a little bit harder. But it's very playable. It's a game you can finish, and the second game in the series was released. It was just equally as good as this, but this was another one of those games I would take out from time to time to play and replay. It was just a fantastic game. You can still find this. It's still relatively cheap as well, and it's available on the PlayStation 4 via the PS4 network, as is the next game I'm going to talk about, which is the very first Jak and Daxter, the precursor Legacy. Now, released by Naughty Dog. I gotta say, when this game was when I first heard about it, I'm thinking, okay, do I get this? Because the previous games on the original PlayStation was the Crash Bandicoot series. Now with the Crash Bandicoot series, it was great, but man, those games were super hard, and the save points in the game, especially the first one, was really unforgiving. It wasn't like what we're used to now. And while I loved the look of it, graphically it looked beautiful, the Crash Bandicoot games, but the difficult level in it was really frustrating for me. And while I did like the other games in the series, it was the same story. I just found it too difficult to really enjoy it the way I think it was meant to be enjoyed. And this was a real chance. I was really taking a chance of getting Jak and Daxter. But I gotta say, when I did get it, I was so happy to see that it wasn't like the Crash Bandicoot games. It wasn't a really hard game to play. This game was kind of like a much more vast open world game with some of the best graphics you can see on the PlayStation 2. It was just an adorable game to look at. It was visually stunning. Every scene, you could take a screenshot of it and it could be a nice photo. It was just incredible what Naughty Dog did with this game. And I played the other games in the series, but for me, this is the best Jak and Daxter game in the series. I just loved everything about it. I think by the time they got to the 2 and 3, it kind of felt like a bit like a GTA game, to be honest with you. But yeah, the first one was so cool. It just set the whole thing up so well, and yeah, they took it in a different direction, but it showed that the PlayStation 2 was very powerful. But we know that Naughty Dog, they can do phenomenal things with whatever system comes out from Sony. Now this next game, these weren't in any particular order neither. It's just my favorite 5 games on these systems I played over and over. And one game that totally surprised me to get a release on the PlayStation 2, and I've done posts on Instagram showing photos of this game, and a lot of people out there did not realize that Half-Life did get released on home console. Now, when I first played Half-Life, it was on PC, and I gotta say, you know, it looks fantastic. I had a high-end PC back then. I guess you could call it high-end compared to what PCs are now, but to play that game on PC was phenomenal. I spent a lot of time on that, but you had to remember we had to use a keyboard and a mouse to play that thing, and you couldn't be sitting in a sofa, laying in bed playing it. You had to be pretty much sitting like a computer table like this playing it. I have a bit of a scoliosis, a bit of a curve down the bottom of my spine, so can you imagine me playing Half-Life for probably about 4 hours straight, getting up, walking like an old man because my back was wrecked. My fingers were like arthritic from playing that game so much, and when it got released on home console, it was like, oh my god, this is great. I can just kick back, relax, use the controller, play it. And I played this so much. I would finish it, go back, replay it so many times. It just felt so liberating. I wasn't constrained to playing this game on a PC where seriously after a while you're using the keyboard, and pretty much my fingers were like arthritic, my back was aching, I was kind of like lurched over like an old man trying to walk, and like, oh my god, why am I torturing myself trying to play a PC game of Half-Life? But that's how good this game was, along with Quake 2. That's a great game as well. But yeah, on home console was so cool. Like I said, it was so liberating. I could sit on the sofa, lay in bed, play this game, and I did play it a lot. Fantastic game. And yes, it did get released on PlayStation 2. Here it is. This is not a copy or anything. It did get released on the PlayStation 2. So there you go. I don't know if you knew that, but if you didn't know it, it did. And it was a great game. And I played it so much on the PlayStation 2. So all these games were games that were my go-to games. I guess you can say that on the PlayStation 2, I always have these games with my, if I wanted something to play, I didn't have something new, or I just want to go back and replay Red Faction, hey, there it is, done. Same with all these other games. So there's my favorite games for PlayStation 2. I will continue doing this on different consoles if this one takes off. What's your favorite 5 games on the PlayStation 2, and I'll see what I can go through next. And yeah, that's it. Something a little bit different maybe. I just want to talk about games and stuff. So yeah, like, subscribe if you want. Don't forget to share. I don't know all this sort of stuff. I haven't done this for a while. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Don't forget to share. Okay, but yeah, that's my favorite 5, and I've talked too much and I'll go now. Bye.